What's going on, everyone? This is relliK42 here, and in the background you'll be seeing a gameplay of Operation Locker, in which I do significantly well. My teammates support me, I carry the team, and I was overall MVP by a large margin. But in other news, I am back home now for Thanksgiving break, about 5 days, and on top of that, I am sick. So I just finally got this set up, and I decided to do this recording today. But if you hear me coughing up a lung, my heart, my lower intestines, you know why. It sounds really ugly. Like I suddenly turn into some this sloth monster, and I'm just like, I sound like the smoker from Left 4 Dead. But anyway, this video isn't about the gameplay that's going on in the background. This video's topic is going to be about the Dualshock 4. And the reason why I decided to do this was because I had a lot of hands-on experience with the controller and the system itself because my RA in college got the PS4. So I was able to play a lot on it, mainly two games, Assassin's Creed 4 and Battlefield 4. So a third-person fighting style game with a first-person shooter. And it was a lot of fun. And the reason why I decided to do this video is because my experience with the PS4 controller, I would say, is very unique to what others have been saying, and I wanted to throw in my 2 cents to see if it fits side by side with some experiences that you guys may have been having, if it's something similar, or if me and the people in the dorm are just crazy, cuckoo, psycho for what we experienced. But anyway, start off. The PS4 controller is definitely a substantial improvement from the PS3's DualShock 3. Yeah, DualShock 3. It feels natural in your hands. The introduction to triggers is very nice. Even though they're not the triggers that we associate with the Xbox controller, they still feel nice. The movement from the triggers to the bumpers is very nice. And I'm glad that they don't have those blocky back buttons that they had on the PS3's DualShock 3 with the introduction of triggers. But on the other things, the buttons, they feel nice, they feel natural. They're not, close together or far enough spread so it feels awkward when pushing them down. They click so you know when you push the button, and it's not like, did I push that square button, and then you get killed in game, or you crash, or something bad happens to you. The D-pad, which has always felt nice on the PlayStation, still feels nice. The controller is wider, so bigger and wider, but it feels nice in the placement of your hands. Your hands come in contact with the controller, and it just feels natural, which is very nice. Now, I've played mostly two games, as I said, Assassin's Creed 4 and Battlefield 4. And when it comes to Assassin's Creed 4, the controllers felt really, really good. Everything flowed well. It felt like I was playing, naturally on any other system. My RA felt the same way, and anybody else who picked up the controller. It was nice. And controls flowed smoothly. Controller was nice with the game. Nothing awkward whatsoever. Now, switch over to Battlefield 4, and we have a completely different experience. I ask that everyone hears me out on this because it may be unique or it may be something that you've been experiencing. So, when it comes to actually playing Battlefield 4, the two things that I found were extremely major awkward occurrences were the thumbsticks and the D-pad. Now, when it comes to the joysticks or the thumbsticks, however you'd like to call them, when you were looking around and running around, there were basically two different sensitivities from looking around and aiming down sights, which was really weird. It was very sensitive to the touch. The gun would sway across the screen if you pushed it too far, and it wouldn't move where you wanted to if you tried to move it slowly. So we tried messing around with the settings, sensitivity, and we're just like, maybe it's something with that. If you did it too slow, if you did it too low, like 10% and lower, when not aiming down sights, your character would move ever so slowly, like left and right, and then when you aim down sights, it'd be better. But when you did it, you're like, well, I don't like this, so let's make it higher. When you aim down sights, your gun would basically sway across the screen, missing your target left and right. It was a different type of sensitivity, and it was really weird. And I noticed it. I watched my RA play it at first, and this was his first Battlefield game. I thought that, oh, him being new to the game, he's just getting acclimated to the controls. But I picked it up, and as a veteran of Battlefield, I was like, whoa, this is different. Um, it was very sensitive to touch, and I thought, well, maybe it's a different type of controller, being next gen, and maybe it's supposed to give us more control over our aim. And after about even a week of playing it, I still didn't get used to it. I got used to it somewhat, but it still felt very awkward. And everyone else in the dorm who picked up the controller and played it, who has played a first person shooter or played Battlefield, I noticed that they had the same difficulties as we all did. It was very new, very awkward when playing. Not only that, in game with other players, and now you'd be thinking like, "Are you crazy, relliK? Are you crazy? What are you talking about?" So you have people who come into these one-on-one confrontations, and they're spraying all over the walls, and they're not accurately aiming at each other. And I believe that has to do with these controls, mainly being the joystick. That it's really sensitive, and it's not what we're used to in the previous shooters. I don't know if this is just a Battlefield thing, or if it's um, mainly to this console, or is it involved in other shooters? Because I played on this on the PC, and PC is PC mouse and keyboard, and I haven't experienced it on the Xbox One, so I can't say for sure if it's just next gen consoles, but or if it's just strictly related to the PS4. But onto my next topic. The controller is so wide that the jump from the left thumbstick to the D-pads is extreme. It's an extremely large gap. Maybe it's because I have small hands, but I noticed that everyone else is having difficulty with it too. Whoever picked up the controller, and everyone's hands are bigger than mine, so between big hands and small hands, I don't think that's the issue. But it could be. Maybe some of you have gotten adjusted to it and you know what to do. So, holding the controller, say my left thumbstick, I'm playing Assault, and I want to switch to my YouTube, I literally have to stand still for a good second to switch to my noob tube. And for people who are just getting acclimated to the game, like by RA, he had trouble thumbing over the D-pad controls and was switching between, medkit, switching fire on accident. It was very awkward for him to make a clean switch back and forth. Now, I eventually found out a way where I can just, have my index finger there and just use that to switch while manning control the left thumbstick. But it's just very different because on, say, the PS3 or the 360, I wouldn't have that problem when switching back and forth from my thumbstick to the D-pad, and I think it's mainly because the the controller is now bigger. Feels comfortable in the hands. It's just that in these two scenarios, it is very, very weird. You have these plenty of awkward encounters in game where you notice, like in the PC version or previous generation version, they would end in an instant because it'd be one person confronts the other, one person aimed out sights, the other person fire. They both fire. One wins, one walks away. And the counters are really weird. It's like they're literally both aiming up at the sky and turning around shooting. That's an over exaggeration, but that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel as smooth. Everything else is smooth, but these two aspects when playing the game. Like I said, I don't know if this is strictly tailored towards this game or other first-person shooters, but I've come to the opinion that the PS4's Dualshock 4 is an overall improvement from the Dualshock 3, just not in the aspect of shooters. I don't know what other shooters I'd have to try. I would try Blacklight Retribution. I think it's a bit of the same there because I played a little bit of that. However, it's a free-to-play game and the controls are still clunky, so I can't compare it to like a AAA first-person shooter like Battlefield or Call of Duty. And I can't compare it to Call of Duty yet because I haven't picked it up. But what I'm assuming is that the joysticks are tailored to having to being more sensitive, allowing us to have more control over our aim, but it doesn't feel like we have more control over our aim at all, or at least for me and the people who are playing that I watch play, it seems like we have less control. That it's very awkward. Now, they have mentioned that with the next generation controllers that the thumbsticks are elevated in a sense, they're not as lower to the controller, so maybe to allow more control. So maybe that's a cause of it, but I can't say that I necessarily don't like it or that it's a bad thing. Maybe it's something that I need to get used to, but I played it for quite a while on long gaming sessions, hours on that. And normally with me or for anyone, getting acclimated to new controls takes about maybe even a day or two. This is weeks time and it still felt really weird. But that's my overall opinion on the Dualshock 4. It's a great controller. It feels nice in the hands. And in certain games like Assassin's Creed 4, it felt wonderful playing. And I could see from others how it's easily able to just pick up the controller, figure out, okay, this button does that, and just go right in and play. And then when you come to first-person shooter like Battlefield 4, it's a whole different animal. It is very awkward, and it doesn't feel like you're playing a smooth FPS, but it just doesn't feel natural when playing. So let me know what you guys and gals have to say. Is this something that you've been experiencing? Is this something that I'm just crazy and every person in my dorm is crazy and you're just like, whoa, you guys are just simply terrible at first-person shooter Battlefield 4. Why don't you equip your FAMAS and your minis and just go out and go on 50 kill streaks? And I'll be like, oh, okay, I guess I just suck too much. And then I'll go back into my corner and cry a bit. I'm sure that some people have been experiencing the same bits as me. I wonder if people have fully gotten, mastered the DualShock 4, have it in a pin, made it its, their pet, and like, now listen, I'm the boss here. You do as I say, and you do what I want. Well, in other side notes, since I've kind of finished earlier than what I expected, I feel like I need to cough, but I don't want to cough because you guys will just hear that dastardly sound that sounds like the smoker from Left 4 Dead 2 or Left 4 Dead 1. And it is absolutely terrible. But I guess I would have tried to show you gameplay of what I meant with the DualShock 4, but PS4 doesn't allow recording with the Elgato until they lift the HDMI restriction, so wasn't able to do any of that. I would have been able to. There's a workaround with that, but it would require me to buy more hardware, and I guess that's kind of why I'll say here that the first next-gen console I'm getting is the Xbox One, because it allows me to record right off the bat. And of course with the PS4 there's the Twitch streaming and stuff, but I can't take the clips and upload them to YouTube. While as with the Xbox One, I can just simply record my Elgato. I can even use the SkyDrive to record clips from the console and upload it to Facebook and whatnot. So it's kind of sad. PS4 was definitely in the line of my decision to possibly get it, but hearing that I can't record with it, I had to knock it down because I want to do recording, give you guys content. I don't want to just do it on next gen. I don't want to do it. Don't just want to do it on current gen, I want to bring in the next generation. So it's going to have to wait. Maybe if they fix it by the time of Christmas, I'll get it then, and then I'll have both consoles sitting there and I'll be like, I am going to no-life it for quite a while. But anyway, that's my opinion on the DualShock 4, my review. My name is relliK42. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, guys and gals.